Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I hope that you can see me. Let me try and tweak this down a bit. There we go. Okay, welcome. It is another week, another stream. Today we're going over some dev stuff yet again. There we go. Right, let me just sign into this quickly because I can't see chat, which isn't great. I would like to be able to read chat. Doesn't want to load. Oh, come on. Okay. That's all right. I can read it just off the thing. How's everyone doing? Sorry, just okay. So, I am sure you all saw that there was a big announcement. So we'll quickly touch on that before we continue on. If you haven't already, go check out the back kit. So, we have unlocked our latest goal, which was pets and mounts, which is very exciting. And if you missed it as well, we have announced the next two goals. We are going to be doing at 160k the new classes, the monk and the witch, and at 175k we'll be working with the amazing team over at Natural 6 to do another one shot. Yeah, my amazing internal artist Jan had redrawn the Natural 6 artwork for me. So let's see if I can grab this one here. There it is. So we had this image in our thing, and it was what I was originally going to use, but I thought it'd be fun if I asked her to redo this artwork in the style of the book so that we had some art we could use for promotions. And so we did it, and here it is. Yeah, so really exciting. Good thing is you're going to get 2 episodes from Natural 6 again. I can tell you that one person will be playing a swoos, hopefully. So fingers crossed we can get that over to you as well. And yeah, it's a really exciting situation to be in, to be honest. We love working with Natural 6. So being able to work with them again is just ridiculous. Let it see if it's going to let me in, because for some reason it doesn't want to show me the chat window, and I would like to know what is going on. So yeah, but we'll see. Okay, so yeah, I still can't read the... Don't want to have to close it down. I just can't read the chat, which is so annoying. Oh, I see. Okay, it's just locked me out. That's fine. Okay, cool. Should be okay now. Oh, okay, that's fine. So now I should be able to see chat, right? Yay, but it's not updated with all the messages, so I'm going to have to wait for them to come back through. Okay, so, apologies. So, where am I at? I have made a lot of progress with the current writing. I sort of just got on with it over the weekend as well. Forgive me for asking, are the sessions of Nat 6 videoed and archived anywhere? Yeah, they're all on their YouTube. You can go watch them, like, right now for Draconim, but there's no episodes for Legends of Akeroth out yet. That's a stretch goal. So there's Draconim Part 1 and Draconim Part 2. Both are on their YouTube, so I definitely recommend going and watching them when you get a chance. So where are we at then? Yeah, I've made some significant progress. If we remember last time, I was doing the, what are they called? Yeah, we'll just do that. Cool. We got to the, what are they called? Limit breaks. So I sat down and I finished writing all of the limit breaks and worked on the witch and the telepath. Sorry, the witch and the monk. So I've got that done as well. And then keywords and class descriptions and abilities and what they do for the classes. Okay, I'm confused by that, but that's fine. So, right, I got to that. Then I went through and redid the kin. So I've not like redone them per se, but I've essentially rewritten them a bit so that they have a bit more lore that makes sense. So, you know, and redone all of their core perks. So now for the bristleback, they can actually turn into a ball and they gain speed while in a ball, and they can attack in ball form, dealing damage equal to their primary weapon, but they do it with Bane. So it's the idea of you can roll into someone and attack them while still in a ball, but attacks are done with Bane, which is just funny to me as a concept. The Burrower got some edits. So the Burrower can gain boon on any check involving tracking, searching, or detecting hidden things, and they're also immune to being blinded. The Crokin, once per scene, can delay their turn all the way at any point without losing it. And if they act after an enemy, they gain boon 2 on the action against them. So essentially it's the be like water, calm, serene, and if you act later by willing to take that risk, you get a benefit from that, which is quite fun. I like that for the Crokin, so went with that. Dogfolk get pack sense, which is that you can't be surprised while conscious. Once per seed, you may grant an ally within short range a free action on their turn. The Drakari get Echo of Elements. They can choose between Fire, Ice, or Thunder and are immune to the status, so Burning, Frozen, or Stunned. And once per check, when they make a check, once per scene, when they make a check that draws on an element, they gain a boon to that roll, which is quite fun. Dwarves get Foresight. Once per scene before you make a check, you may automatically succeed on it without rolls, but you can't use this on attack rolls. So yeah, automatic full success. So basically it's like, I don't want to roll for this. I want this thing to happen. I know it's risky, but I'm just going to say that it happens, which is quite fun. But obviously the downside for that is they're a lot slower than other classes. The Einsem get Ironhide, which is they gain defense equal to their primary attribute. If they would be defense broken, they ignore it and instead remain at 1 defense. So it's essentially a free blocker of being defense broken. So yeah, that's once per combat. Yeah, we'll do that once per scene. If you'll be defense broken, ignore it. You may ignore it and remain at 1 defense, so that's fun. Elder Sight. Once per scene, when you roll a failure, you may treat it as a full success instead. So slightly different from the Dwarf. They still have that Foresight style ability, but they can use it on attacks and they have to fail on the action in order to get something from it. So it's similar but different, if that makes sense. Like, the idea was the dwarves and the elves are very sort of holier than thou. They're one of the 3 elderkin, so they get that benefit from it. But if it's an attack, they consider it a critical. So they get that bonus too, which is a lot more interesting than the dwarf, where the dwarf can just say, I succeed on this thing without even rolling, but the elf has to risk it and fail on the attack or action in order to gain the benefit. So there's a bit of balance between the two, which is quite fun as well. Norborn gets small and cute. You move through any space as wide as your shoulders without penalty. You gain boon on... Actually, no. I'm going to get rid of this because I don't think that it makes sense for that. Instead, you just get boon on checks to dissuade, deceive, or charm. And once per scene, when you'd be targeted by an attack, you may force them to re-roll and take the lower results. Shouldn't be new result. Lower result, which is, again, interesting. The human, they get resourceful. Choose one attribute and at creation. Once per scene, reroll any failed check using that attribute and take the new results. Once per downtime, you may choose which attribute this applies to. It's again to represent the I am resourceful. You know, I can adapt to any situation, which I just like for humans. I've always found it quite interesting. We have the Inferni. So they get Frostfire. You're immune to both burning and frozen. Once per scene, if you deal fire and cold damage, you add your primary score to that total. You can light and douse fires or chill and heat objects with a touch, which is, it's just very like fun as a concept, I think. I know I keep saying that it sounds fun, but when I sat down to write these, I was just thinking, based on this kin, what would be the most fun to do? So that's why it's very much like this. Panthara, we've got sure-footed. You take no damage from shortfalls and gain boon on checks involving balance, leaping on narrow surfaces. Once per scene, if you move before attacking, you add your speed to the damage dealt, which is just so cool as an idea. The faster you are, the more damage you do. And I just think that's quite, again, very interesting, very fun. Then we've got the Skelly, already dead. You're immune to poison and fear. Poison and fear. Yeah. You don't need to eat, sleep, or breathe. If you would die, you may return from the dead once. You know, that's it. Yeah. It is quite a fun one, where you just die. But the big thing is that you're immune to all type actions. Because I think this one, like the if you would die, you return from the dead once, is very, very big. But it only happens once. So now, you know, once you lose that, you're now immune to all poison and fear type actions and do not need to eat, sleep, or breathe, which, again, very, very nice. The Swoos. The Swoos got a once per campaign. With the Skelly, does healing hurt you like in D&D? I do like him. No, I think that's boring. Like, I get the concept of it, but then it just makes the game more difficult to understand. If you go, oh, a Skelly now takes damage from healing. No, I don't want any of that. I just want it to be simple, understandable, done. The Swoos, they get Bearing. They get a boon on all social checks. Once per scene, you may sway an NPC to treat you as a neutral party. This does not work on enemies mid-combat or bosses. Again, you can't... I felt like I had to specify that, so players didn't just turn around and go, oh, I'm going to say that this boss is now my friend. You have the Ursin. Steadfast. You can't be moved, knocked back, or knocked prone unless you choose to be. Once per scene, when you make a melee attack, you may push the target back 2 spaces. No. Push the target into the next... into short range. Yeah, no, short, medium range, and deal bonus damage equal to your body score. Oh, we'll just say primary, just so it makes more sense. And then the Warrant, which is once per scene, after you make a successful check or attack, immediately move up to your full speed as a free action. This movement does not trigger reactions, so it's just free movement at the end of the day. So that is essentially all of the kin. I've also rewritten all of their lore. If you would like me to go through that, I can, but I can save that for you to read when you play the game. But yeah, they've all gotten a bit more significance and more writing as if it's from the perspective of a character in the world, which has been quite fun to do, and I've really enjoyed it. So that's where I'm at with that at the minute. Just quickly double check this, because I like to see if there's comments and stuff and see what people think, but Yes, I know a friend who will have to play monk. Truly incredible. Can't wait for this. Oh, that's lovely. No, I must log in to continue. Why do you do this to me? I shall log in. Give me a second. What? Okay. I think they hate me. That is great. Perfect. So, just gonna like these comments. I will reply to them later. I'm obviously streaming right now, so we'll do this later on. Yeah, Natural Six have been an amazing group to work with, to be honest. I love them very much so. They are lovely people, and I speak to the team on a regular basis, so just back and forth emails really. So yeah, really excited to let them play Legends in the future. It's gonna be great fun. Right, so I have also worked on the creating a hero section now. So I've gone in and I've sort of worked on the system a little on how to create a character and making it a bit more streamlined. There were certain things that didn't quite work and people felt were a bit off with the thing. So I've streamed it down to, I'd say 5 steps, but there are a few more steps involved within steps. But I think on a grand scheme thing, it does work out quite nicely. So yeah, it's a great little thing. So all you do is you choose a class, choose a kin, you spread 4 points across your attributes, you choose 1 primary weapon, 1 secondary, and a set of armor, and then you choose a region, a reason for adventure, marks, and starting Dravix. You're probably wondering, what are marks? We'll probably do it this way. Marks, reason for adventure. Reason and yeah. Okay. Your marks are your life experiences and where you come from. Word. Life experiences, and all players start with currency found in Akeroth. Boom. So essentially what now happens is then we go into how you do that. So we go into classes and we've got the index of the classes. So it defines that you get starting HP and SP. You have an SP and HP level gain per level, 2 class features, a passive, 3 class features, 1 passive, 1 limit break, and a harmonic ability. Or is it melodic? No, harmonic, yeah. Probably wondering what that is. We will go into that very soon. A list of combat and social perks to pick from. You may pick any 2 at level 1. And then I go over the class dice. When an action says roll your class die, you roll equal to your primary and then the level you're at. So for example, if you have a primary of 3 and are at level 4, you'll roll class dice equal to 3, which is your primary, d6, which at level 4 is your class die. I also tweaked recoveries. So recoveries, you may roll your class dice and restore that much HP, and that can be done at any time during outside of combat. So then I've reworked resting a bit as well, which I mentioned. So I'm doing combat today, but I've done resting. So you can use your class dice to recover HP. This can be done at any time outside of combat. You can then take a short rest to restore SP equal to your class dice, clear all of your wounds, refresh your class dice HP recovery use. So for example, oh, I've used my class dice, and then short rest, you get that usage back. And also refresh your limit break, because we tweaked limit breaks last week. And then you have downtime, which is 24 hours for recovery. You can restore your HP, SP, wounds, and all of your resources that you've spent. And then there's a section on downtime that will be coming up as well. So that's all done. Which brings me on to character creation, and I think we were on classes. Cool. So, yeah, this scales quite nicely. The infinite levels still stay, so you can still go above level 10. But what I say is, after level 10, you don't get an increase in your size of your die. Instead, you just get +2 to the roll. So for example, if you're level 8 with primary of 4, you have 4d10 that you roll. But if you're level 12 with a primary of 4, you roll 4d12 plus 4, 2 for each level above 10. So that's how that works. Yeah, I mean, this works out quite nicely. Limit breaks are far easier to use now. Every single job and class will come with a limit break. A limit break can be used once every short rest in or out of combat, and they refresh immediately if you take damage that reduces you below half your max HP. You can only have one limit break equipped at one time. You may swap it during a short rest. If you are taken below your max HP, but you have not used your limit break, you go into overdrive. Any limit break used while in overdrive deals double damage and doubles the effect. So, slash doubles the effect. And overdrive cannot be activated outside of combat. Done. Yeah. Yes, jobs do get limit breaks. So a good example is the rogue. The rogue gets, I believe it's peekaboo, which is they teleport to 3 characters, deal damage, and then become invisible. And then if you do a job, you might have assassin, and that might be, oh, you can deal damage to a certain one character, and if they are below a certain amount of HP, they die. You know, that's a limit break for an assassin. And because you only get one limit break per character, you can choose, do I keep the rogue limit break, or do I take the assassin limit break? You know, it's quite you know, like fixable, changeable what they do. So melodic abilities. Every single class and job gets a new feature called a melodic ability. These are unique actions that can be done by spending melody points. You're probably wondering, Ash, what are melody points? So I will explain that in a minute. When you use a melodic ability, you can use it as often as you wish, as long as you have the MP to do so. And then when you level up, you gain the following. Gain a new mark. Cool. Leveling up has also been streamlined, so you get your HP SP increase based on your class. You get an attribute of +1, whatever you want, and your class dice increase based on a threshold that we've listed above. Same thing, nothing's changed here. Multi-classing is the same. And then we have the class table at the end of the chapter, where if you roll on it and get the, like, let's say you roll a d10, it will tell you what class you're getting. Quick one as well is, I have renamed the telepath to Esper. I think that is more significant to what they are. And now telepath can be an Esper job rather than Esper being a telepath job, if that makes sense. So that was more just a wording thing, and I felt that it was more capturing of the entire class rather than this particular thing. I felt that naming them telepath limited me creatively with that, so I wanted to tweak that a bit as well. So yeah. Okay. Right, so I have also spent the weekend rewriting every single class. So I now recommend a spread for every class. So they have, if you want to quickly build a character, the idea is you go into classes, you roll a d10 to tell you what class you get. So let's say I roll and get a 1. I go into Esper, and Esper tells me exactly what stats to put inside my character. I then know what primary I should be picking. Then I get 3 features: a physical armor for my, passive, a limit break, and a harmonic ability. I then have jobs, which I insert jobs names here, I'll do that later. And now, originally, the game had 30 perks across both combat and social. I ran the numbers. When you have 30 perks, that's too many perks. I didn't run the numbers, I just looked at it and went, that is way too much. So, basic idea is, all classes and jobs will get 10. split between combat and social, so there's always a nice balance between them. But the basic idea is that there's not going to be as much decision paralysis. You're not going to be sitting there going, I need to read through all 30 and pick one. Instead, it's just, I need to pick one of the 10 that are available for classes, or I pick through one of the 10 that are available for my job. And it becomes much quicker and much nicer for you as a player to sit down and go through this. So that's why I've done it that way. Yes, there are recommendations for players who are going to just like do a one-shot maybe, or just quickly build a character. You know, maybe they want to build a waymate as well. This is what also the waymate generation is going to look like, where you just quickly generate a character with no need to do anything else. That's the idea. So heavily simplified classes and jobs. I'm not going to go through all of them because we could be here for ages. Obviously gone through the kin. I've also added a table for the kin. You roll a d20, and then I've made it so the more common the kin is, the higher the weight on the table. So in this example, a bristleback, a dogfolk, Einsem, and an Ursin are the most common kin in Eric. So you have a 10% chance of getting each of them, whereas all the others are 5. So it makes more sense from a lore perspective, and also a d20 is what you roll for that. So it just makes it easier with this many kin available. Just do that. Okay. So that's that done. Then I went into, creating a hero, finished all that. And then I did the reason for adventures, went through that and just edited the prompts. So these are meant to be a background or backstory for your character. The idea behind me giving you a table is I want people to create backstories themselves using the prompts that I give you. So you might roll on this table, roll a d12 and get pilgrimage. You're having some sort of sacred calling. What do you feel when you reach what do you hope to experience at your destination? And then you can work with your herald or work on your own to try and come up with what that is. But it's also to help solo players understand, okay, what's my story? Where am I going? What narrative am I trying to drive here? And you've got something to help you work with that. Which brings me on to marks. Now, I'll be honest, I don't like the name marks. But the reason I didn't want to go with something else is you'll understand very quickly why I didn't pick a different name for them. And I'm genuinely considering whether or not I just say I don't care and just give the name that I want. But the reason I went with marks is, for me right now, they're a placeholder and I can easily Control F and replace them. So, what are marks? So, a mark reflects an experience that you have gone through and has shaped you. These are places you lived, the work you did, or the things you went through, or just general life experiences. When you make a check and a mark is relevant, you may spend 1 MP, or melody point, in order to roll and gain boon 2 on that check. As a player, you will start with 2 marks, one that reflects where you come from, and another that is closer to your character's actual experiences. Here are some examples. 2 broad are flight, 1 hit killer, resourceful, strong. 2 mechanical is oh I never miss, immune to fear. The ones that are right are raised in the docks, ran with smugglers, survived winters alone, trained under a knight. So, when you make a check, you look at your marks, and if it's relevant, spend 1 MP, invoke them, and they gain you 2 boon on that roll. I've given an example here. The keyword here is relevant. A mark should be connected to the fiction in a way that makes sense to everyone at the table. If you have to stretch it to make it fit, it probably doesn't. So Risa has the mark, ran with smugglers. She's trying to talk her way past a harbour guard who suspects she's taking bribes. Who she suspects can take bribes. She invokes her mark, she knows how these conversations go, and gains 2 boon 2 on that check. But if she was talking to Noble, the mark may not apply, since smugglers and nobles don't have the same social circles. Risa also has trained under a knight. When she attempts to identify the fighting style of an opponent, she invokes it. Her old master drilled into her stances, she gains boon 2 on the check. So the basic idea of these, I think, is becoming very clear. They are something your character has experienced that affects the narrative directly. You will notice they are very similar to other concepts in RPGs that I love, which is Daggerheart has experiences. I believe Fabula Ultima has traits. Legend in the Mist has tags. City in the Mist has tags. They're basically, I have this thing in my character sheet or my character's backstory that I genuinely believe affects the narrative going forward. So in D&D, I am 100% sure you've been there too, but you're sitting there playing the game and you go, hey DM, can I get a bonus on this check inside the library looking for the books? My character's very well read and he studied a lot in school. Can I get advantage on that, please? This negates the idea of having to justify it. You have the mark, it's relevant to the check, you can justify it, making sure that, making the argument that it makes sense, but it's on your character sheet, which also means the herald knows what it is and can apply the game directly to accommodate for these. Like, if you have written, oh, I'm a noble, that's a fine mark to have, but it may not be relevant to every session. So yeah, that is like the way to do it. The name I want to go with is experience, because you gain them as you play as well. So you level up and you can choose to gain a new experience. But Daggerheart used experiences, and I don't want to steal a word from them and people go, oh, this is just Daggerheart, because on the face of the game, I don't want people to assume. I want them to actually read it, understand it, and enjoy it. So I will come back to the name later, but the basic concepts are really fun. I've redone this table where you can roll to have your mark and your location origin. So you might roll on it, get a 4. You're from Emdros's Watch. You have 55 Dravix, and you have the origin mark, a sailor's friend. An example for this might be, you are traveling on a ship with your friends, and you see a ship coming closer, and they ask you, hey, I need you to, what's the word? I want all of the stuff that you have on your boats or whatever. You go, I've got Sailor's Friend. Can I use that to maybe get them to back off? That herald says, sure. You won't roll with Boon 2. So, the reason that memories don't work is because memories indicate in the past. You gain these as you play. So, you gain them in the future after character creation. So, memories doesn't work. Any word that indicates past, such as, what's the word? Like, I had another one that was very past. Background, origins, experience is the word that is so perfect for this, but I can't use it. So I'm going to try and figure out something else. But for now, they will be called marks, and then we'll just fix it later. Fix it in post. But I like the idea of them. I really enjoy this as a concept, and I think people have fun. And then you can gain new marks as you level, and then you have to create a mark that is something that's happened to your player, or character, sorry. And so I give some examples as well, just in case people need them. But, yeah. I like Moment. I like Moment. Actually... place. Moments. Moments reflects. I want to invoke a moment. I start with 2 moments. Okay, I'm going to spend the moment. Yeah. I can see it working. She is the moment. I'm joking. But you get what I mean, though. Interesting. I like moment. I'll change it to moment for now, and we'll come back to this again later. Well, that's not great. Basic principles, fine, no results, that's fine. Character creation. Have creating a hero. Define your moments. this one as well. Place all. Okay, so Waymates also got a overhaul. Nothing crazy, just something that I think was required for them. Significance is too wordy, it's too much of a mouthful. Basically, they have been simplified down to their core rather than essentially a character sheet with a few things missing. You now pick their class, kin and level, same as normal. You assign attributes, exactly the same, calculate HP and choose gear. But they only get 1 weapon, 1 set of armor, and 2 passive accessories. You know, that's it. They have 2 passives, a kin gift and 1 passive from any of their available perks. They also get 1 moment that they can use to aid a player roll. So you can spend, if the player spends 1 MP. And now, the action table has also been significantly dropped down. Originally, the Waymates had a table of 6, and you had to design each one and then roll on that, which doesn't work. Instead, they have a table of 3 options, and they roll a d6 still, but they only ever have 3 options, and they can either move or roll on the table, and they also have their limit break. So they can't gain melody points, they can't spend melody points, but you can spend melody points on them to do things. So a lot easier to manage. You don't even unlock jobs for them, so they are way faster as a concept as well. Do this. So that's them. I think it's probably worth me talking about melody points for a second. So the people in the Discord, is the playtesters especially. Put your hands up if you're in the chat, playtesters. You'll know that I've struggled a lot with hero points as a concept. They haven't worked for this game. They felt very individual. So instead, what I've done is gone back to the drawing board, try to understand why are they fun in Draconim, why do I enjoy having them, and what can I do to make them interesting in this game. So, I am currently working on the melody system, which is going to be really cool, and I probably think the thing I'm going to talk about in the next stream, but I'm really excited about it. Melody points are essentially a replacement for the hero point system that we originally had. So those of you coming from Draconim, you'll recognize hero points, but it's essentially a different version of them. Melodies were what existed before the first mana spilt into Akeroth. The giants of Akeroth tapped into this and found power that can be molded to their needs. When they died, they hid most of this knowledge, but some can still hear the music of what they left behind. Melody points represent a character's ability to tap into it and enhance their own power. So, you gain melody points if you do something heroic, roll a complete failure, enter a landmark, enter a shrine, start the session if you had 0, and if an ally or yourself drop to 0 HP. All players can hold a maximum of 6 melody points, and they carry over each session. Waymates cannot gain or hold melody points. A heroic action can be anything from pushing an ally out of the way to helping an NPC cross a river. It is not inherently a combat-based action, it is anything the world would view as good. If you are playing a game where you're all villains, then this could be a villainous action, such as destroying a cart or stealing from a merchant. You can then spend melody points to do certain things. Replace all. You can help an ally by spending 1. The ally gains boon or plus 1d6 on that roll. You have to describe how they do this, and you can spend 1 melody point on a preparedness check. You can use your moment. Every hero has moments. This is a single line about who they are, what they can do, and where they come from. Spend 1 MP to invoke it and gain boon 2 on a relevant check. So, examples. My father was a blacksmith. I used to steal in Olinstow, survive the winter. Exploit the male gaze is one of my favourite ones. And when you use your moment, describe how it applies to this scenario. If it fits, it works. You can spend 2 MP to re-roll. So you can pick as many dice as you want from your last check and take the new results. So for example, you've rolled 6d6, but 5 of them are failures. You can pick 5 of those dice and roll them. How similar are the solo rules? These are the solo rules. Alter the narrative. If you want to introduce a small fact to the scene, you can do that. So for example, introduce a contact, recall information, or establish a detail. These are essentially what the hero points did in Draconim, but they changed a bit. You've then got 3 points you can spend to your melodic ability from your class, which are the big flashy things. And then my favorite one is Synchro Break. So if you spend 3 melody points and both you and your hero, and you have your limit break available, you can spend 3 and merge your limit breaks together into one big limit break once per session. So for example, let's say you have a character who is the rogue, for example, who is able to jump in to different enemies, but then you have a healer as well. You could create something really cool where everyone gets healed, but then you do more damage because for everyone you heal, like exceeding the reality of what can be done by spending an external point system is where I'm at with this, and I think it's so cool, and I love the idea of tag team limit breaks. It's just like, yeah, I got this when I was playing Tekken Cross Street Fighter, weirdly enough. So I'll show you what I saw and why I felt attached to it as a concept. It's Street Fighter Cross Tekken, actually. Cross Arts, that's it.
Let's team up. Wrong way. Leave it to me. I'm going all out.
Like, I don't know why I enjoyed it so much, but it was just really cool.
Let's go.
Oh, these are all just like, yeah. Let's see. Cross Arts. Yeah, I think this is the one. I think someone else did this. Someone did something which was really cool, and I can't for the life of me find it again. But basically, they... Is it Ultimate Smash? Oh, man. I can't remember what they're called, but I need to figure it out. They had a thing, and it was Smash... I cannot remember. Final Smash, that's it. Someone made a Final Smash thing, I believe, where they comboed them together into really, really cool video. I can't for the life of me find it. I will look for it. But it was very cool as a concept, and I was a very, very big fan of it. So that was the basic thinking I had around the synchro break system, where you could do multiple things and you and another player could actually work together to describe what this thing looked like. And I just imagine loads of really cool concepts with it. So I just think it's for people to have fun with more than anything else. So, that's where I'm at with that. See if I can find the track. Okay. So that was melody points. They are, I say here, melody points are a narrative tool for players to utilize in-game. They are an extremely powerful resource, and while some abilities and uses may seem expensive, they are gained often enough that you can use them constantly. Some classes may use abilities that spend or gain MP in interesting ways, so keep an eye out for those. That is something I am working on at the minute, and I would like to include. But yeah. Okay. That is character creation stuff. I have then been working on writing the Waymates again, and more importantly, guilds. I have reworked guilds slightly to accommodate for the additions that we unlocked during the stretch goals, which means I am very pleased to say I have added a quest builder into the guild system, so you can randomly generate quests. This is great for Herald, or even for those of you who want to do quests inside guilds and have a quest board that you have. So, you know, it's nothing really deep. It's more just for you to have narrative markers to use. So I know Zachary is going to be very excited about this, so I'm really excited to send that out. Yeah, you get rewards as well. There's like a nice reward system that you can get too. And then I've sort of like left the guild generators as they are, which is really nice. It's the Tears of the Kingdom trailer theme, and it's just so good. You can turn it up so you can appreciate it. So good. Okay. So that's that. The other thing I'm very pleased to say that I've worked on over the weekend and today is base building. I have finished the base building rules. I'm finally done with them. I spent so long working on them last night. But basically, you have all the rules you need for building a base from start to finish. So you can build rooms. You can build upgrade rooms. So, for example, you gain things that you can do in these rooms. So, for example, you build an armory. You know, once per downtime, you can spend time in the armory during a downtime. You gain +1 to the first attack roll, and your weapons are treated as freshly maintained. So, durability rules tie directly into this. But in order to build a room, you need materials. So you need timber, stone, iron, or cloth, and rare components. Now, what those rare components are, entirely up to you and your table. But the basic idea is that if you're in combat, if you're going and exploring, and you want to roll for your material because you don't want to like actually sit down and decide what you want to build or what you want to have, you can roll 2d10. 1d10 tells you how much you find, another tells you what you find. So the example here is you roll a 5 and an 8 on 2d10. The 5 tells you get 5, the 8 tells you get cloth, so you get 5 cloth, which you can then spend to build rooms and all that jazz. I'm thinking about tweaking this a bit just to make it a bit more balanced, but you get the basic gist of it, which is you have the armory, you can then upgrade the armory to a master armory, and it costs you Dravix, it costs you 3 iron and a rare component, you know. And based on the table, the rare component has a 10% chance of dropping, whereas everything else is significant enough. So yeah, it is really nice. It's got some actual what's the word, like legs to it now, so it's gonna feel much better for people coming into it. So yeah, that's that. And then mobile bases, because I know people are waiting for this. Let's see if I can tweak that. There we go. So Um, Mana gems. There are going to be more rules on this, but this is basically to mana gem rules for upgrading your base. So the basic idea is mana gems are like crystallized fragments of the power that the giants left, and you can go and find these, and they can't be purchased from like normal people. You have to go seek them out, and you can get common, refined, or sovereign, blue, green, or red, and then you can use them to upgrade your base. So you need a certain number of common gems to build a ship. You need a certain number of refined to build a walking building, and sovereign to build an airship. It is basically to give you something to seek out and quest rewards that are going to be like really tied to big quests, or really expensive to build. So yeah, you get exclusive rooms with these as well. So if you build, say, a I don't know, an airship, you can build a crow's nest into that and an observation deck, but you can't do that on a normal guild base. It's going to cost you a lot more to build these things, but the basic rules are very simple, so you're not having to do loads of things. I am going to be doing more research into bastions from D&D, into the things that other places do, but this is my rules, like flat out. I just wanted to design my thing rather than looking at something else off the bat, because if I can make tweaks to it, yeah. But I love how simple this is, where you need 5 iron and 2 rare components to build a cannon. You then know I need 4 iron and 2 rare components to upgrade that iron. So there's a lot more that you can do with this. So I've made really solid progress with this, and I'm really, really happy. So we're making some good headway with the game, which means that the final rules will be, well, the playtesting rules will be quite far along by the time I get it sent out to you guys. So, let's see where we're at with everything else. Okay. That's that. I'm now working on the core rules, so tweaking those to make it a bit easier to understand and a bit easier to trim through. I've made significant headway with rewriting bits, but the combat section is what's taking me the longest to progress through at the minute. Just because, and I'll put it out there for you guys, is currently combat, you have the weapon triangle, which I love, that's not going anywhere. You have affinity, which is like damage type versus am I resistant, or am I immune, or have I got vulnerability to it, a la Pokemon. Then you have the I think that's really, and then you have defense break. I think defense break I've sort of tweaked a bit now. So now, if you are defense broken, you just double the damage. Way easier for everyone at the table. Defense broke. All right, everyone pile on that guy. We're going to deal double damage to him. Sorted. It's like, oh, I'll wait till use my limit break so I can double the damage on him. It's a lot more fun, I think, and makes a lot more sense from a JRPG perspective. Here's where I'm struggling. School of thought for classic TTRPG play is all weapons have a damage type. The damage type can be affecting the way that you interact with enemies. So some enemy, perhaps a creature made of fire, will be immune to fire damage, right? And that's fine. I think that makes sense. But then you have the weapon triangle, which means, based on the weapon I have, I'm going to deal more or less damage to this creature because I have the advantage here. I think very nice. They don't work together very nicely, because if you actually think about it, the weapon triangle on its own is so beautiful, and it is so clean with if I have this weapon that is better than your weapon, I do more damage to you. Great. This side of the sort of like weaknesses and all that, if I have a thing that is you're vulnerable to, I do more damage. Very clean on its own. As soon as you stack them together, it's I have to check what weapon I have and what you have. I have to check what damage I do versus what you do. It now is, and what you're immune to, etc. The layers that they add on top of each other is far too much, and I think it slows the game down considerably. I looked into it. I did my research. I played other games, and one thing I've come up with is keeping damage that is magical to magic spells only. But, okay, Kaz, thank you. It literally what? Yeah. But, problem you have with that suddenly is magical weapons don't have any more significance now. So, I've looked into it, and the games that I have inspiration from here, Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem, Zelda, classic Dragon Quest, all that. And what I found is very interesting. Games that are Western influenced, because let's be completely honest, Zelda, Fire Emblem, they are JRPGs, but they're not JRPGs, if that makes sense. Like, they don't have the same significant sort of genre-defining moments. I'm not saying they're not saying, but as in, like, if you think JRPG, you're not going to think Zelda, you're going to think Fire Emblem. Not even Fire Emblem much anymore. You're thinking, like, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, right? Those types of games. That pillar. They are very individual. And I think mixing them isn't working. So I don't know what to do. Part of my heart is saying, combat is Fire Emblem influenced. So, take out damage types. Allow things to just happen the way they are. But another part of me is saying, yes, but I'm inspired by JRPGs, and one of the cool things about Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy is that damage type actually had an influence, which meant picking the right weapon for the right scenario was hugely important. So I'm at a stage now where I keep them both and just continue on as I am, and people just interact with them. Or I remove one in order to retain flow and make sure nothing drops to a hole. Now, flat out, the immunity and sort of like damage type system, incredibly fine if you're playing with a herald. The moment you're not, you have to look up that information. The solo play starts to suffer. That's where the issue comes in. So that's where I'm a bit concerned by it. I would love to hear thoughts. I'm not in any camp at the minute. I just would love to know what you guys think. Just reading comments at the minute. So here's my issue with making things optional. The moment you start making things optional, the question becomes why even include it? I understand about keeping things optional and all that. Yeah, it is really difficult to define that, because then it will be, what's the point in including it then? Like, For triangle weapons, elemental damage could be restricted to bonuses, e.g. you hit with an advantage from a weapon triangle but the enemy is immune to fire, you would negate the bonus fire damage but still take the base weapon damage. Right. I can see that working. What I'm trying to remove now is friction. You know, you can have attacks between magic and physical attacks if the resistant or effective is solid to a solid neutral. This is the thing. Part of me thinks there's actually no friction here, and I'm creating a mountain out of a molehill. Part of me thinks players will just overcome that issue, right? They will just check if damage is immune or damage is thingy. It's a thing that's happened in most RPGs actually I've played, TTRPGs. They have damage types, they have immunities, they have blah blah blah. But is it actually that deep? I don't think so. I think you doing thunder damage should mean you do thunder damage. You know. So yeah. So that's the thing. I think affinity. All right. I have advantage on this thing. I deal double damage. I have resistance to this thing. I deal half damage, and I do immunity, deals nothing. Right. And then with the weapon triangle, I actually think the easiest thing is you just roll more damage. I think the whole step your dice up, step your dice down, blah blah blah. That is the part that's causing a lot of friction because people are forgetting to do it. Whereas if it's just a static trigger, like defense break doubles the damage, easy. You instantly know. And that is true for both player and enemy, so it's fair. The weapon triangle is where I'm looking. I looked into the Fire Emblem mats recently. Good lord. I don't ever want to look at that again. But we're going to pull it up. Because if I had to suffer through it, you guys have to as well. So let me see if I can grab it. Okay. So, when you had weapon ranks, but then deeper as well, you had advantage, disadvantage on it. So, you increased your hit rate, or you decreased your hit rate with a flat amount, which was great, you know, loved that. Which was why I had step up or step down, right? That worked fine because you stepped the die up, you did more damage, but your crit rate went down. It didn't actually work in gameplay. So yeah, I'm just trying to think what advantage and disadvantage looks like in the situation here. My immediate reaction is, oh, you just do a flat amount of damage, like +5, like it says here, or -5. But then it just doesn't scale well with combat at all, where it needs to do a certain amount of damage more. One idea I had was you just do your primary on top. That scales beautifully with level, and it always makes sense. But then you get to a point where, you know, well, but then, to be fair, that also gets rid of the whole weapon rank idea, because now you are your level is directly dictating how much damage you're doing. So there's that too. I don't know. I'm in a weird position with it. I've got an idea, but I don't know if you'll like it. Probably not, but throw it at me anyway. Okay. How about 2 die rolls? 1 die for the weapon, but then a die for the element. So, okay. The problem with that is that what this game does quite nicely, and what many games do, is the no hit to roll hit. It actually makes the damage calculation a lot smoother. By adding in multiple rolls, you suddenly have more things to calculate. It actually starts like it starts causing a problem for you. So I don't want to do that. It's a good idea. I think maybe for a different game, but not this one. But yeah. Cool. Right. But yeah, I've looked at some other games as well, and I think the whole damage type thing is fine. It's just literally the weapon triangle that I just want to come up with an idea for that scales quite nicely and works in the grand scheme. You know, like that you just remember. That I think is the main problem I've had. I've noticed a lot of people look up rules again, and that's fine. When you're doing it, even after like 6 sessions for a simple thing that should be a core, that's where you have a problem. So I want to make sure that you don't have to do that, and you just know you add extra damage to it. Done. So what if your damage roll was a d8 or d10, advantage in affinity and weapon triangle, at both d12 and d20, disadvantage only at d... I no. I'm sorry. No, I don't like it. I think it's too much. I think I want it to just be boom, you've got it. That's why I like the add your primary to it. It's so simple. The problem you have is it doesn't feel significant. It just feels like there are so many options that will give you that. So the rock paper scissors element, it doesn't really have any significance in there. So I just need to think of something. I know I will come up with something sooner rather than later. It's just going to take me a bit sitting down, working through it, coming up with the concepts, playing it through with the playtesters or understanding it with the playtesters, coming back to the drawing board. Like, this is not a simple process. No one creates an RPG overnight. It just doesn't happen. But I'd like to look into this a bit more and try and understand where we're at with it. But anyway, yeah, I've worked through a lot. I'm currently working on the extra rules as well, and some of you will be very pleased to know there are group checks in the game. So for example, you and your players or you and your party can make checks together now, and the threshold goes up based on how many people are trying it. So it's not like oh, if everyone tries it, all we need is 3 successes and we pass. No, that's not going to happen. Everyone rolls their dice, and you need 6 successes to pass if you have 5 heroes rolling at once. It allows people to get involved with a check, and it stops the entire thing of, it's like, have you ever been in D&D or any other TTRPG and someone says, I want to roll to investigate. They fail the check and someone goes, oh, can I try? You know. So that fixes this. I've also put in attribute combinations because I know that certain people struggle to understand how the 2 attribute system can work with no skills. So it's just going to be a quick table that's just going to tell you roughly what it looks like. But I can delete these, I think. Um, Let me rephrase this. What if there was default damage for default dice for damage? Although this can only work with 5 dice, the dice in the middle is a default. Same ideas. I trust me. I completely understand what you're trying to say. I just think that the moment you have default dice for damage, it removes the idea of certain weapons being better than other weapons, because otherwise you just have a bonus, right? Like, what I love about this current system is you have a dagger that does 1d4, right? It can crit 25% of the time. It misses 25% of the time. You have a great axe, right? The great axe can do 1d20 damage. It crits 5% of the time, but misses 5% of the time. The damage is more broad. I love that. That is one of my favourite things about the roll system. I have to shout out Nimble for that. I have to shout out other games that do similar things, like what's the word? Blah blah blah. Savage Worlds. You know, I have to give them a shout out. What I don't want to do is make this too difficult for people to understand. So I'm going to keep looking at it and working through it. But I do like the idea. Okay, so let's go through. Actually, what do you guys want to know? I'd love to discuss some more bits that you guys would be interested in knowing. Any other new things? How will pets work now that it's unlocked? I think I'm going to go with similar to the Waymates, where they get stats like creatures do, and that they get perks and actions. Basically, the entire weapon, like creature card, you just get that as a pet. I just need to now figure out their relationship stuff. You know, like, what do you get when you unlock more things with them? My vision for them is much like Waymates. They don't level up with you, Waymates do level up with you, but these creatures don't level up with you. Instead, you need to do things to bond with them, and then the bond fills up a clock. The clock reaches its max, you level up. But if you keep failing on checks with them to calm them down, they leave. They eventually just abandon you because you haven't done anything for them. So yeah, that gives me the thing though. I need to do pets, so I'll add a new file and just call it So I like melody points. I just need to figure out where they're going to go into the core rules. I think they go... Oh, you know what might be better? Adding in a section on the basic principles that tells you spending a melody point. Yeah, let's see. Let's add it in there. And then I'll add insert. And we'll just do that. And then we'll add combat in there as well. And then you've got a nice little basic principle section that you can go through if you ever like think about the game and you're like, oh, I need to know what this thing does quickly. You'll be able to look it up early in the book. So that'll be good. God damn it. Okay. So we've done new stretch goals. We've done the updates to the game. We've done marks, or moments actually now they're called. If you back the game, you get access to the playtester version of the game. So if you back the project now, you get access to the playtest. So we've done mobile bases, we've done melody points, we've done moments, we've done the changes to the kin, we've done the classes. What are harmonic points? That I believe we've already gone over them. They're the melody point system. So you can spend 3 in order to use your class's ability. Basically, every class comes with a unique ability that you can use. So if I go for the mage, they have the harmonic ability Fold Space. Spend 3 MP to teleport yourself and 2 willing allies from your current place to any place. I think I'm just going to call them melodic abilities. Yeah. Melody ability. That's so much easier. They are called melodic abilities. Oh, shoot. I called them something else and didn't change the name. That's fine though. It's easy. Easy fix, easy fix. Go through, change that. This is going to be fun. Like, not realizing what needs changing. Okay. Oh yes, so I have finished working on the Tinkerer and the Esper in full. I just need to make some edits to the actual abilities, but the basic idea is you get stuff like Dominate Foe, Feedback Loop, where you can take half damage and reflect half of it as psychic damage back to the attacker. You get Unnerve, which is you can expose a target, shatter their focus. Social perks you get like Lie Detector, Cold Reading, Psychic Whisper, Terrifying Presence, you know, like very Esper-esque concepts. Their melody ability is Domination, which is you can take control of a single non-boss foe within medium range. Take one of their actions of your choice as if it was their turn, decide what they do, who they target, and how they do it, and then once the action resolves, they return to normal. It's like a big, I'm going to quickly take over this thing and do something on its, like using its turn. So that's quite fun, which is quite nice. So yeah. The Tinkerer is a lot of fun as well. They get their like passive is Field Engineer. During a short rest, they get to upgrade one weapon or piece of armor belonging to an ally or themselves, and they can upgrade it until the end of the short rest. Next short rest, sorry. So they can do a weapon that deals the primary attribute as a bonus, or grants 2 plus 2 defense. Their limit break is bombs, and more bombs, where they just throw a bag of bombs, and they choose a target within medium, short, or far, and they take fire damage equal to the class dice, and the area within a short range of that person, of the target, is littered with bombs. So anyone who moves into there or starts their turn there takes half the damage that was just rolled, which is quite fun. Their melody ability is Prototype, so they can spend 3 MP to produce a device, describe what it does, and then it works once and just breaks. So for example, you can create something that can, I don't know, I'm just trying to think what it could be, like leverage a boulder, for example. You can create that device and it does its thing, but then it breaks immediately. Then I worked on the Monk. The Monk gets the limit break Earth Shatter, which is slam the ground and all enemies within short range are knocked down, and they take damage. I think I'll put light, but that'll be fun. Light damage equal to your class dice. You start your turn and you cannot be moved, knocked back, or change position by any means, which means like you're just solid, which is quite nice. You then get Targeted Strike, which is as your melody ability, where you can spend 3 MP and make an unarmed strike that ignores all armor, all defense bonuses, and damage reduction. It deals your class dice as bonus damage, which is insanely powerful, because you already deal your unarmed strikes with damage equal to your primary. So, yeah, it's extremely strong, where you just break through their armor, which is quite nice. And then we have the Witch. For those of you who have been wondering, I believe it was Amaya who was the one who wanted it. But they are officially the same as characters from Covers of Midnight. They are connected to the Paragons. So, yeah. Like, canon-wise, they are connected, so you can bring your characters over from Covens quite easily, which is quite nice. They get the class feature Blood Price. Once per scene, you may take damage equal to your primary attribute to power the next ability, spell, or check you make. This action automatically gains +2, and this damage cannot be prevented or reduced. So you basically, you take some damage, but you get boon 2 on the action, which is quite nice. I might make that boon 3, actually. Significantly powerful. So that's quite a good one. It's always better to roll more dice. No, actually, yeah. I'll tweak this later. But you then get Soul Drain. Siphon the life from those around you. Deal shadow damage equal to your class die to all enemies within medium range. And restore HP equal to the total damage dealt. I'll do half. And then you get Hex Mark. You place a permanent mark on a target that you can see. From this point onwards, you always know their exact location regardless of distance. This mark can only be removed if you choose to lift it or the target. Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oh, actually, no. You know when a target removes this mark and how they did it. Yeah. Because I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm going to mark the boss and I know all the time where they are. If you mark Ganondorf, he's going to know how to get rid of that. So I'm just going to add some level of narrative thing of, okay, they can remove it, but the Herald now has to tell you how they did it. So that's a bit more interesting. Yeah, I'm like working through this slowly. I really like the way that the Witch is going. It's very, very fun. Essentially, they do the same thing as the Mage, but yeah, they got a tweak. So, someone else was asking about the Sage recently. The Sage has got a few upgrades. They no longer have the spirit animal thing. I got rid of it. So now they have rights. You can have Rite of Flame, which deals damage, Rite of Root, which can root a target, or Rite of Mending, which can heal an ally. So they're very broad in their ability, but the difference is that they can heal for half the damage. They can burn for takes damage, takes fire damage equal to half your class dice. And gates burning. Yeah, so they're more broad, but they do less, you know. So in this case as well, they get the limit break, which is Call of the Wild. I renamed that, so now it's creatures just jump out and attack. So I moved the spirit animal thing to the ranger. The ranger now gets one called Animal Companion, which does the same thing. It says recommended spread. Recommended spread. Like the word recommended. It's recommendation. I don't care where you go. Do what you want. I'm not going to come to your house. You want to put all of your points into body for your ranger? Go for it. Who cares? You get Animal Companion. So you're accompanied at all times by a small animal. You choose what creature this is. This creature cannot be harmed or targeted. You may spend an action to have it aid. Add 1d6 to an allied roll. Mend, restore HP. Or strike, which deals damage. So conceptually, similar to what the Sage can do, except you have creature can do it, whereas with a Sage, they have a broader scope of targeted locations, which is quite fun. So, yeah. I don't know, everything's coming together quite nicely. I'm very happy with how far I've gotten with this. You know, luckily with most of it, it was deleting things rather than adding more, which is why I was able to get through it so quickly. But, yeah, I'm in a good place with it, you know? So, yeah. Got 30 minutes left, so I'll just sort of leave it for you guys to decide what we discuss. But yes, to answer your question, Nathan, they are suggested, are recommendations, not you must. Because again, I don't really care. Done melody points. Break. Cool. What I might do, because I now have an hour before I end my day. I don't think there's anything more I need to cover, so I'm going to cut this short, so I can go back to, well, one, I can go get something to drink and just relax for the end of the day. But I'll be probably trying to do another stream this week. I don't know when. I'll let you know, but it depends how much more I get done. If I've done a significant amount, like even added in another chapter, or not chapter, but another section, then we'll go through it together. I don't think the next one will be 2 hours, because again, it depends on how much I get done, but I'll be adding in pet rules, and I'll be adding in some rules for relationships as well, because I think they'd be quite good to add into the Waymates section as well. I think we've had a lot of good stuff happen over it, so I'm very pleased to see how far we've gotten with this. Obviously, I would love to hear if you guys are even enjoying these streams, because if you're not, and you just feel, okay, well, I'll just wait till the game comes out, I can do other things, but I feel like they're useful to document my own progress, so I can look back in a couple of months, and if I've said something like noteworthy about a rule that I said that hasn't come up into the game, it's then nice for me to go back and check it. So it's more for me than for you guys, but if you aren't enjoying it, I can, you know, go over other things or just discuss lore or whatever. But I think seeing the game design process, having your own say in it, is always fun. So I do enjoy it. I will say, I think the best example of a moment is Exploit the Male Gaze. Exploit the Male Gaze is just so dope. Can you imagine that? Hey GM, or hey Herald, I'm going to use Exploit the Male Gaze to get a bonus on this roll. Like, that is so funny. But yeah. I don't know, I like the idea of it. So let's... yeah. Just a lot. Right, let's see where we're at just before we end off. So, nice thing is, we're also featured on Backer Kit, so that's quite cool. So we are at 141,143, which means that we are 8,857 pounds away from unlocking one more multiverse, which is hugely exciting. Cannot wait. And we are, yeah, doing significant sort of like steps forward on this. We can quickly check where we're at with the backer tracker thing. So backer tracker says that we should hit 233,000 by the end of the campaign. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in the basket for this, because there is obviously like a chance we don't, but I think we are going to hit the OMM goal. I believe we're going to hit the natural 6 goal. I believe we're going to get the new classes, which is why I've already designed them. So I want to put it out there right now. If we do not hit the class design goal, they will be released later as an expansion, a paid expansion. If you unlock the goal, they're free. That's the basic difference. That's just it, you know. It justifies me making it and adding it to the book because it's going to cost 3 pages per, or no wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to cost me 12 pages added to the book, and those pages do cost money whenever you're printing, so I have to actually think about it. I have a page budget I have to hit, so adding in those classes will take me over the page budget, which then means the book will cost more to make. That is why it's a stretch goal. And because I know there's some people who go, well, why are you doing it as a stretch goal if you've already designed it? This is why. It's so I can justify the extra cost it's going to cost me to make them into the book. Yeah, because, you know, some people might go, oh, 7 cents, or it's not 7 cents, 70 cents per book isn't that much. Yes, but when you're printing like 1,000, 2,000, it is a significant amount, and it adds up very quickly. So, you know, just a little insight into the behind the scenes process for you there. I think we're going to hit it. I'll be completely honest. You know, we need to get, let's assume we need to hit, where are we at the minute? Like, yeah, just that number's wrong. 141, so 175, 123 minus 143. So we need to hit that much, but we've got 10 days left. And if we take the average pledge, it says here, which is 129. We need 26.2 backers, so 27 backers, you know, across 10 days. Which is, no, we need 27 backers per day, which I think is doable. You know, I think it's doable. So, you know, we will hit it. I think it's a given at this point. But as I say, there's a lot more that goes into this. So, yeah, I am really excited. I'm really, I know, okay. I first want to apologize to everyone who has been looking at the game and going, oh, it's done. It's going to be quickly finished. It's going to be produced very fast after this. And I'm sorry that I'm doing a rewrite for it. I know that it, you know, probably isn't what you expected. You would prefer a game that's ready to go, then I deliver it to you. The reason I'm doing this is because I personally want the game to be the best it can be. I would be proud to release it as it is. I'll be completely honest with you. But I think that it could benefit from me spending more time on it while I have the ability to do so. I have struggled so much with creativity recently. I've had imposter syndrome. I have gone through a lot of issues with actually doing this work. It started feeling like work, and I think that's what stopped me. But I think going back to it, being able to go, okay, what don't I like? What can I cut out? I very much have enjoyed the process. I feel, and this can sound so cheesy, and I want to apologize to everyone for that, but rewriting Legends has actually brought me back to, it gave me flashbacks to the first time I sat down and wrote Brambletrek, where I was so excited about creating new things and rewriting things and tweaking it and getting it out to people, because I was doing it for me and I wasn't doing it for anyone else. I was just doing it because I want to make something. And that is what I'm feeling right now with Legends. I am feeling like I am creating a game that I am excited to share with you. You know, that I want to show my friends. That is a design process I enjoy the most. I'm not saying my other games haven't felt like that. They absolutely have, but I've been struggling with it more recently because I've had other games, you know, like Draconim, that's been slowly being worked on. And it's why Draconim has had a slowdown in terms of its design and rewrites, because I felt like I was doing it for work, not I was just having fun with it. So I'm really glad to be back on that now, because I haven't felt this excited about game design in a very long time. You know, I think the last time I was this excited was when I started working on Draconim and got it first out to backers. Whereas from that point it was tweaks, you know, rather than really exciting things. So now I'm so excited that I want to take some of the stuff I've learned from this and apply it to the rewrites for Draconim. You know, it's a nice time to be a game designer. Because yeah, it's rough out there in the TTRPG world at the minute. So I'm really glad to be able to be doing this. So what I'll do, I'll leave it there. We'll catch up soon. Message me on Discord. Do whatever you need to do. I would love to hear your thoughts in the Discord as well. Hype up Nat 6 a bit. Tell me what you're most excited for. And we'll catch up later. If you need me, you know where I am. And if I don't catch you before the end of... if I don't catch you before the end of the week, then have a fantastic week, everyone. Have a fantastic day. And I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye.